So, and we should decant maybe the second wine in the other decanter.
Wow. Now the shape of this one is...
So we've got Styx Cabernet Sauvignon from Yarra Valley.
Not Sauvignon, it's Cabernet Sauvignon. Just to make sure, because Sauvignon could be also white.
Absolutely.
It's red. That's the red version from the Sauvignon grape, so to speak. It's the Cabernet.
This is the
snake. With the
this is called Mamba.
Mamba.
And you see that the decanter here, let's move this a little bit to the side.
It is.
And see this same way you would pour it slowly.
It's a beautiful thing.
It's amazing.
It's a beautiful thing.
Again, this kind of slow pour guarantees that you have a very white surface.
I think this is something that I see as one of the biggest misconceptions out there, is that decanting is only for old wine, and people haven't been educated in this aerating, and how it's more important even for if you're drinking a wine younger that perhaps needs a bit of time. I think people want to know what's the right time, how long should I remember desperately wanting someone just to tell me how long should I decant this wine, but of course it completely depends on the wine.
It is a question, and you see that this kind of little aerating creates a little foam. This is not soap which is in here. It is the CO2. The CO2. You see this? This is the CO2 which bubbles up, and obviously when you get the carbon dioxide out of the wine, oxygen comes in, and this is actually the effect of aerating the wine. And again, this is a spectacular piece, and you would say how convenient is it to work with it, and I would say it's perfectly convenient and totally spectacular. Again, this decanter, when you pour from the decanter, you would never hold it by the neck. All the decanters have been held by the body or here, and this way you hold it by the tail.
Wow.
The tail. So, and again, you have here the same effect that the decanter is.
You can hear it.
That's not normally.
Honestly, you do this, Justin.
Okay.
It's incredible.
Mm.
But it's not just visual, is it? The shape has got a lot to do with what it does.
As I said, this I would call a beautiful, for people who enjoy to serve wine, this is a spectacular way of serving wine. It's a wine tool, but also a wine toy.
Yeah.
You know, who needs this? Who needs this? You know, I always say.
Me now.
I always say.
I don't want to both.
It's sexy. It's really sexy.
And again, here you have your. Please try the wine. Quite spectacular.
Totally different, obviously.
And obviously we have now always the right wine in the right glass, but we could also.
So this is a Bordeaux glass.
You know, when I came in 1992, first time to Australia, they told me secretly, whispering in my ear, if you want to be successful here, you're not allowed to call it after French regions.
Maybe that's the issue, Andre.
So
Sorry, you won Australia.
I always should call it after the grape variety, because
Cabernet got you absolutely right.
yeah. So I learned about this here in Australia.
Now you have.
Yeah, no, I know I stand well corrected, and there'll be many viewers out there going, Andre, please, we're trying so hard to come out from under the French Regional Association. Sorry, Australia. Cabernet glass.
So, talking about the right wine tools, there is a lot to be learned. For an interested viewer, he could do a glass tasting and conduct a glass tasting by himself, using 3 different shaped glasses, pouring the same wine in the glasses. Do not over pour your glasses. Do not pour more than 100 milliliters, and then notice how the quality of the aromas is going to change, and also how the mouthfeel and the flavors are going to change. And out of the 3 glasses, you will notice that you have a clear preference for one, which means that the same wine changes in perception, it changes in the perceived quality. The wine stays the same, however, it's transmitted because of the different flow of the glasses on different parts of your palate.
Well, I reckon we're going to do that in another episode. We're going to
Well,
do
certainly-
wine tasting.
Well, if we can get our hands on a selection of Riedel glasses, we will certainly try that.
Hi, Mark.
Look, while we're on it, I did want to say, you must get sick of it. I think it's commonly referred to as Riedel in Australia, and that's totally incorrect, isn't it?
Yeah, it is like Riesling and Diesel.
Yeah.
So these kind of 2 German words have been able to make it this IE as E.
Yeah.
So it Riedel rhymes on needle.
From the source. So next time a sommelier argues with me about the correct pronunciation of this, I'm going to direct you to the video. Riedel.
Riedel.
Let it be known.
Yeah.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
I just want to ask people, what is it about a wider rim and a bigger glass that suits the Cabernet more than a smaller glass with a narrow rim?
Again, there is no scientific explanation for this. It's something which we discovered through trial and error, that different shapes of glasses perform different grape varieties in a different way. And the first who ever thought about functional glassware was my father, Klaus Riedel. Before Klaus Riedel, there were beautiful glasses being made, cut ornate with gold rims showing the owner's income on the table. But the glasses were not wine-friendly. The glasses were not even wine-friendly. The reason is that traditionally handmade glasses were hand-opened, and this kind of hand-opening means that the rims were not cut and then fire polished, but they were hand-opened, so all the glasses of the former times had flared tops. And these kind of flared tops do not allow you to nose the wine, which obviously of the wines of the past, maybe you didn't want to nose them. But let's not say this. There have been delicious wines being made in the 19th and 20th century. But when in the late 1950s, Klaus came in a very young age, started his career. He designed glasses which were unadorned, thin blown, and he promoted the egg shape first. And this kind of egg shape here is able to contain the aromas, and this is the reason why out of these glasses the wine has aroma. Then we discovered further that different shaped glasses alter the aromas, and they alter also the flavor profile of the wine. And then we asked and questioned, what is the difference? And then we noticed that obviously in Europe, being a European family, is that different regions performs different grape varieties. If you think about the Rhone versus Bordeaux versus Burgundy, here you have your classic 3 grape varieties which are regional, and only the New World has planted Riesling next to Cabernet Sauvignon. This doesn't happen in the traditional regions because the grape varieties were partly indigenous and partly planted in this region because they did best, which means that they gave the most crop also. I mean, the winemakers, vineyard owners need to sell something, so they planted grapes which do best in this kind of climate. When you go to the New World, obviously a new chapter was being opened, and people planted because climate was right, the soil was right, but they did not go with the tradition that Riesling needs a cooler climate and Cabernet maybe a slightly warmer climate, and Shiraz even a warmer climate. So there was these kind of rules were not happening, and therefore this kind of being varietal specific is something which we learned traveling through the New World.
Actually, I've just thought of one more question that one of our quaffers actually asked me to ask you. Champagne flutes. They brought up the fact that they heard that a Pinot Noir glass is actually sometimes preferred than the traditional champagne flute that most people drink champagne out of.
The story of champagne is that champagne has always been used as a celebration wine, and it is a highly, highly respected wine, comes with a high price, and the champagnes of the former times were sweet, and they were very sweet. Only in the 1930s they become drier. But before 1930, champagne was sweet, and champagne was served for two occasions: for receptions, then the flute was served, and for sit-down dinner, the coupe was served. Sit-down dinner, the coupe was served for dessert.
Is that the Josephine?
Yes, and why was it a coupe? Because then the people dipped their cake, their dry cake, into the champagne and had the dry cake with it. So there were two different reasons. And imagine that you are on a standing in a reception and you would have it in a coupe. So everybody who runs into you, touches you, you spill the sticky champagne, so to speak, because it's sweet, on your clothes. So this was a classic reason for this. Later, when champagne became dry, and nowadays the Champagne region favors the winey side of it. So they say we have a fantastic microclimate, we have this unbelievable clay soil, and our grapes produce fantastic wines, which in a flute, because it's narrow and tall shaped, we cannot show the complexity of it, because it's one-dimensional in flutes. And therefore they say, why don't we use white wine glasses, or why don't we use even Pinot Noir glasses, which are larger. So two is that the Champagne region has now a third transformation from the coupe to the flute, and now to slightly larger glasses, slightly more wine glasses, to highlight the yeasty components, to highlight the fruit, and to give this kind of effervescence on your palate, the right balance.
Do you think we'll start to see that in restaurants, or are we already starting to see that?
I tell you, it is when the winemaker promotes the glass, this is always the best endorsement you can have, because first of all, he would know how his wine tastes best, and therefore he would then guide the consumers, which obviously will take some time, because tradition plays an important role in how you lay your table and how table setting are being done. So the flute will not go out of fashion. It is just for those people who are interested to get closer to champagne, to get intimate with champagne, to serve it in larger glasses sometimes helps to release and open up the secrets which are kept in the champagne.
Secrets. Well, I think our education is only going to just begin.
Yeah.
Pleasure to meet you. Thank you so much for giving us some time.
Thank you.
We are going to sit in with you this evening and learn a lot, I dare say, and hopefully have some nice wines.
Very nice. Thank you so much.
This will only be the beginning of your education in glassware too.
Cheers, guys.
I'll be got a wine for you. Sorry, how rude.
It's okay. Enjoy the wine in the right glasses.
Yeah,
We will.